Hello and good afternoon. My name is Marco Burks, and I've been a juvenile probation officer for the past 12 years. I currently run a diversion program called the Evening Reporting Center, which is why I chose to do diversion programs as my comprehensive analysis. Most of my work focuses on helping youth avoid deeper involvement into the justice system by providing structure, accountability, and support that supports outside of detention. Today, I'm going to walk you through diversion programs, what they are, why they matter, what the research shows about them, and what I've learned through direct practice in the field. All right, so juvenile diversion programs are designed to keep youth out of formal court processing when appropriate. Instead of detention or prosecution, youth are connected to structured services. At the Evening Reporting Center, where I hold programming daily, this includes academic support, counseling referrals, mentoring, and other structured evening programming such as art therapy, mentoring, um, decision making. What else do we have? We have healthy eating, and then dating and sexual education, just to name a few. The goal is not to remove accountability. The goal is actually to respond early, to reduce harm, and then address underlying reasons for why a young person may come into contact with the juvenile justice system in the first place. So, why I chose this topic a little bit deeper and why this topic matters. It's important because adolescence is a critical area of development. Youth are still having learning or still in the process of learning how to regulate their emotions, manage peer pressure and influence, and make long-term decisions. In my experience in running the Evening Reporting Center with the Dallas Juvenile Department, I've seen how quickly one decision can bring a young person into the system and how this can quickly turn very badly if it's not given the proper structure and support. Traditional justice responses don't always align with that reality, which is why diversion is such an important alternative. Let's get into the literature review. Okay, so first we'll talk about diversion programs. Diversion programs are grounded in adolescent development and the idea that youth are still capable of change. Traditional processing can create harm through labeling, system involvement, and exposure to detention environments may worsen a youth's outcomes. Research consistently shows that youth in diversion programs have lower reoffending rates than those processed through the formal system. At the Evening Reporting Center where I work, I see that reflected in real time. When you stay engaged and supported, they're usually returned to the community in better state than which they came into contact with the department. Why diversion programs work? Diversion works because it addresses the root causes, things like trauma, unstable home environments, school struggles, and substance abuse. Here at Evening Reporting Center, we focus on structure, accountability, and consistent engagement through high risk evening hours. That consistency matters. This is the time of day when youth are at the most risk for reoffending or getting into trouble, and that's why we kind of tackle that time frame of the day. But the challenges are still they still remain. Program quality varies widely through diversion programs. Funding is usually inconsistent and has um, valleys and peaks, and then access is not always equal. All youth are not usually exposed to or given the opportunity to be a part of some type of diversion program. There's also an issue of net widening. Youth who might not have been formally processed or pulled deeper into supervision systems. All right, let's discuss some theoretical framework. There are three key theories that guide diversion work: developmental theory, labeling theory, and restorative justice theory. Developmental theory focuses on adolescent growth. Labeling theory focuses on identity formation through system involvement. Restorative justice focuses on repairing harm and accountability. Together, these theories explain why Programs like even the Reporting Center and other diversion programs emphasize structure, support, and behavioral change through punishment. I'm sorry, rather than punishment. Developmental theory explains that adolescents are still developing decision making and impulse control skills. This means their behavior is often driven by emotion, peers, and immediate circumstances rather than long term intent. Um, I see this daily. Youth who make impulsive decisions, but respond quickly when given structure and consistency. Here in Evening Reporting Center, we have a curriculum called Decision Points, which helps the youth process things better and it kind of breaks it down and kind of slows down so that when they're in a real world situation, they're able to react in real world time. And this is we've seen this be helpful as a component of our program. In addition to that, that's why intervention and guidance are more effective than punishment at this age. Label, Labeling theory suggests that once a youth is labeled a delinquent, that identity can stick with them throughout their time in the system and in the future. I've seen youth begin to internalize this, especially after court involvement, which can affect their confidence, behavior, and how others treat them. Diversion programs like the Evening Reporting Center help prevent this by keeping youth out of formal adjudication when appropriate and allowing them to build more positive identity. Restorative justice theory focuses on repairing harm rather than just punishing behavior. This often means structured conversations, accountability, agreements, and opportunities to understand impact. When youth take responsibility in a meaningful way, I've seen stronger engagement and real behavioral change. It shifts accountability from something imposed to something understood. This brings us to why I feel that developmental theory is the strongest support of why diversion programs are successful. The developmental theory is the strongest foundation because it directly reflects how youth grow and change. If adolescents are still developing judgment and impulse control, then intervention, not punishment, is the most effective response. In my experience, when we align support with development, we see engagement and better long term outcomes. All right, now ethics. One major ethical issue is inequality in access to diversion. Youth from low income communities or minority backgrounds are often less likely to be diverted and more likely to enter formal processing than their counterparts. That creates fairness concerns, especially when programs like diversion are proven to be more effective. Equal access should be a priority in system design. Punitive approaches focus on punishment, but research shows that they are less effective for adolescents and can sometimes increase reoffending. Rehabilitation on addressing root causes and building skills for long-term success. And usually in diversion programs, everything is rooted in rehabilitation, structure, and accountability, and support for rather than punishment. Another ethical issue in this topic is confinement or conditions upon confinement. Detention conditions raise serious ethical concerns, especially for adolescents who are already very vulnerable. Isolation, restraint use, and exposure to high stress environments can worsen mental health and behavioral outcomes, especially to those already having certain experiences in these areas. Diversion reduces exposure to these environments, keeping youth in community based settings where support and stability are much more accessible. Experimental design. Experimental design is the strongest research method because it uses random assignment between diversion and court processing. This helps isolate the effect of the program itself. These studies consistently show that diversion leads to lower reoffending compared to formal processing, supporting what many see in this practice. Quasi-experimental designs compare similar groups without random assignments using statistical controls. They reflect real-world conditions more accurately. Even with those limitations, they still show that diversion programs are more effective than traditional court processing. Meta-analysis combine multiple studies and consistently show that diversion reduces reoffending across different settings. Longitudinal studies follow youth over time and show that the benefits can last immediate program period, beyond the immediate program period. Together, they show that diversion is not just short term, uh, but also has lasting impact when implemented well. I just also want to note that this type of analysis is very important whenever you are trying to champion what divergent programs do, and it's a very big part of receiving funding. So I will say that I've had personal experience in trying to regain some funding for my program, and these studies are what usually people who are in support of a program or want to fund a program, they want to see what the research shows as far as long-term impact for juvenile success when it uh, when it concerns recidivism or things like that. So overall, the research shows that diversion programs reduces reoffending, but program quality is key to success. Policy implications include increasing funding, improving training, and standardizing evidence-based practices. Equity is also critical. Access should not depend on geography or background. Diversion programs need to be consistent, and the structure needs to be directly impactful for these outcomes to be fulfilled. So, overall, diversion programs are more effective and developmentally appropriate than traditional processing. They reduce reoffending and help you stay connected to school, family, and their community. Most importantly, they give youth a chance to move forward in life without being defined by one single mistake, which I see as one of the most impactful and powerful things that we can do for the youth that we serve. While diversion is effective, limitations remain. Most research focuses on recidivism, leaving gaps in long term outcomes like education and employment. Program quality and access also vary significantly across jurisdictions. Future research should focus on long term outcomes and identifying the most effective program components. Overall, diversion works, but it works best when it's consistent, when it's well funded, and when it's equitably applied. From my experience running the Evening Reporting Center, when those conditions are in place, you have real change and you will see it in your youth that you serve. Thank you very much, and that will conclude my presentation on juvenile diversion programs. Thank you.